So this is a fundus photograph of my eye. That's my optic nerve on the right, and my macula that I see for fine detail and reading is that slightly blurred area in the middle. It's an avascular area, so there's no blood vessels supplying it. On the left over here we have an optical coherence tomography picture, so that the picture on the left is the same as the picture on the right with the fundus camera, except on the right hand side of that you can see the layers that make up my retina. There's a basement membrane at the bottom. The cells that actually pick up the light are those ones in the darker band. I can magnify that slightly. So you have this dark band here. This is where the rods and cones are that pick up the light. The layer above that is a synaptic layer. There's a bipolar layer, then another layer of synapse, then you have the ganglion cell layer, and the top layer is the nerve fibres that feed the optic nerve. Now for glaucoma you're looking for changes in the nerve fibre layer and the ganglion cell layer. For things like macular degeneration, dry macula, you tend to find little lumps and bumps forming underneath the retina, and for a wet macula you're actually looking for leaks and swelling. I can show you a little bit more with my eye, so that if we jump to this one, and let's have a look, we can build that up. So there is the underneath of my retina, and then building that up, that's my macula just there, and then building that up into a nice three-dimensional picture. This is a three-dimensional map of the back of my eye. Looking for glaucoma. So there is a family history of glaucoma in my family, and what we would normally do before we had this machine is look for changes in the optic nerve. Now there's that little cup, that paler area in the middle, and you would look to see if that changed with time, because if it changes it means that the nerve fibres that feed that nerve are beginning to die off. Now what this machine does is it measures the thickness of the nerve fibre layer around the nerve, which you can see on the right side there. This then builds up, so we're just looking at the top layer here. You can see the underneath layers, but the nerve fibre layer is that brighter layer at the top which feeds the nerve. Then if we unwrap that as if it was a tin can, then we get this thickness profile here. Now you can see that my curve is very much, it's slightly depressed, but it's pretty normal. And now, having got that base level reading, we look for change with time. It's more significant that that stays where it is. It doesn't matter too much if it's sort of at the top end of the green band or the bottom end of the green band, or even encroaching in the yellow. What we're actually looking for is that wherever it is, it stays and doesn't change with time. So this is my left eye, and again there's no real difference comparing the left with the right eye, but there is a definite thinning of the nerve fibre layer. Now again, this was done a year ago, and I really need to do another one soon because I wouldn't like to think that that had changed. So I want to talk a little bit about retinal structure. This is a diagram of a retina. The bottom layer here are the photoreceptor cells. Then you have this layer of synapse there, which are basically electrical connections. And then there's a bipolar layer there with a new layer of synapse above it, and then the ganglion cell layer with the nerve fibre layer at the top that takes an electrical signal from the back of your eye to the back of the head, where it puts it together into a picture that you can see yourself. Okay, so then if we move from that to my eye, and I can increase the magnification of that. So this then is a cross-section of my retina. That bottom darker layer are the photoreceptor cells. Next layer above that is the synaptic layer, bipolar cell, new synaptic layer, ganglion cell layer, and the nerve fibre layer at the top. This machine measures these precisely and will show any change with time. Now, the sort of thing that we're looking at for here, if we look at the picture on the left, that central area is my macula. It's an avascular zone, so most of the nutrients that area gets come from underneath the retina. And it's underneath the retina that you tend to get macular degeneration developing. This one, we're looking for a smooth membrane at the back. Now, I can show you an example of one where it's changing with time. Here we have drusen forming, which you can see those little lumps at the back there. I have one of a wet macula. This one is an obvious wet macula because you can see that huge swelling at the bottom there. And glaucoma, advanced glaucoma looks like this one. So we can see the nerve fibre layer has almost disappeared. This is a patient that has had glaucoma for many years, and this is where we get this trace at this stage. The idea is to pick cases up of glaucoma far earlier than when they get down to that level.